Today's topic is bad consistency. I see a lot of times we are talking about consistency, and this ties in with being positive. Obviously, we want to be trying to strive to be as positive as we can about life, don't have time for this, or try to avoid as much negative time that we can to live this fulfilling life. So, consistency, looking at it from a negative point of view, we need to understand what is negative consistency and how to recognize it, but also how to avoid it. Because obviously, the first step in removing or avoiding anything is recognizing it, right? Okay, so bad consistency, the best way I could describe it is addiction, right? An addiction of something means you're consistently doing a behavior, a substance, most commonly. For example, let's use alcohol. I'd say alcohol is quite a common substance that's used addictively. People take this daily, sometimes even hourly, unfortunately, and this not only is a negative consistent behavior, but also it spirals and affects other parts of your life without even you knowing, right? With alcohol, it's quite obvious what a long-term effect of consistent alcohol abuse is. Not healthy at all for your body. Shortens your life years, unfortunately, and ruins your experience of life. It becomes a haze. It becomes blurred. It becomes social life just doesn't exist as much, right? And so you want to try and avoid that. And we're going to use this example just to talk about now and talk through what goes on. So for someone watching this video, and you may recognize you may be addicted to alcohol, you're taking this on a daily basis, but you need it, as in you cannot last a day without it. Your body craves it, and you always succumb to that craving, right? This isn't healthy. It's not a way to live. If you're addicted to anything else, let's chuck an example of coffee. I'm a personal advocate. I personally love coffee, so I can put my hand up and say, yeah, I am most likely addicted to it because I take it every day. I enjoy taking it, and my body does crave that sometimes. That caffeine, has become addicted to it, and I understand and recognize that. But I also understand that coffee, or being addicted to a coffee, a couple a day, is a lot less harmful for the body than alcohol, for example. So me recognizing that I have an addiction as such is the first step. Same with alcohol abuse, same with any other narcotic abuse. The first step is always to recognize, and it's all about being self-aware. What are you doing? What's going on in your life? Are you actually taking account of the actions you're doing every day? Sometimes addiction is blind to people because they've done it for so many years. They're doing it out of habit. This consistent bad habit is taking over their life, and they're completely, like I said, blind to it. So how do we remove it? Well, removing a habit is always done the hardest way possible by just stopping, right? That's number one. That's the best way to do it. Completely stop. If you are in a heavy alcohol addiction, I obviously recommend first off talking to an expert, but secondly, in situations where you completely stop, your body will go into shock, right? Especially with narcotics and alcohol, your body will completely go into shock if you've gone from, you know, everyday use for years to instantly stop, cold turkey as they call it. Not recommended by some, but personally, if I was in that position, I know mentally that I would want to stop, and I'd push myself to stop. You get a lot of it with cigarettes. People who try and stop cigarettes, they get this jitters, they get the shakes because their body is craving that nicotine, that rush again to stop them shaking. And to fight that, it's pure willpower. It's how much do you want to stop that behavior? Just as if we flip it and reverse it to the consistent behavior, the good consistent behavior, how much do you want to be? How much do you want it? How much do you want to learn that instrument? Do you actually want to put in the consistent work every day? Like most times, it doesn't have to be hours and hours. 15, 20 minutes here and there. It's perfect for improving that good behavior. And on the reverse, we're trying to remove behavior. We got to stop and being consistent with it. Stop. It's not healthy for you. You know, you need to have that willpower of, right, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not benefiting my life. It's ruining my life. I want to extend my life years. I want to live a more fulfilling life. I need to cut this behavior out. And stopping and taking that first step is always the hardest. Of course it is. Of course it is. You've been brought up around this addiction through your body and mind linked together, and doing this habit without thinking for years, for example. Of course it's going to be hard. But you know the willpower you have and the dreams and targets you have of life beyond this addiction shows or tells you that you need to stop now. You know, the quicker you stop, if you stop now, the day now, don't say tomorrow, don't say next week, now. You see people, for example, with the gym. Oh, you know, my New Year's resolution is going to go to the gym every day. It's September. You're going to wait another 3 months, then go to the gym? No, the time is now. It's the same, but it applies to any logic, right? If you want to stop something or start something, reverse it in both ways. Do it now. Do it today. What is really stopping you? Your mindset. It's always your mindset that stops you. Why are you not going to the gym? Mindset. Why are you not stopping the addiction? It's your mindset. You've let your mind and body become addicted to this substance because you didn't have that willpower. You might have gone through a tough time. We've all gone through tough times. But you turn to a substance and you refuse to bounce back. You're struggling to bounce back. We've all been in those dark times, but no one else can truly decide for you. People can come and help you. You can go to alcohol, groups specifically endorsed to help people. If we use the alcohol example again, but ultimately, who is stopping you having an addiction? They're not. They don't decide who. If you pick up the drink, you decide. So what I'm trying to emphasize is you need to take action, take control of your life. By no means am I downplaying this addiction is not bad. I completely understand alcohol addiction or even narcotic addiction is extremely vile, right? In terms of what it does to the brain and body, and it becomes very, very addictive to the point where you can't imagine life without it. And snapping out of that is really hard. I understand that. Maybe I haven't gone through it and I can't fully understand, but I can definitely emphasize with people that this is hard. Taking that first step is hard. But also understanding that you taking the first step is the only way you're going to get out of it. You have to take action. You have to be, number one, aware that you are addicted. It takes a lot of balls to admit to yourself and to other people that you're addicted. But once you do, and once you start taking action, the feeling you're going to get, that triumphant feeling that can't be matched, it's going to be amazing for you. And you'll go from feeling, depressed and not feeling like you're worthy to, finally hitting those goals that you wanted to. Instead of pushing back every year and year and year, you're doing it today. And this not only makes you feel good, it links with fulfillment in life again. And once you get your life back on track, you go from there, right? So hopefully this has brought some light or shed some light onto this topic. Like I said before, I don't want to downplay addiction. I think it's very serious, especially with narcotics and alcohol. But we also wanted to understand and emphasize it's up to you. It's always up to you. You have to take that first step. And I want to make sure people understand that once you take that first step, life will be a lot better. So looking throughout your life, what bad consistent behaviors are you doing? We haven't talked about addictions to certain substances. There may be bad behaviors like fast food, for example, different substance. People would argue not as aggressive as an addiction, but if you're consistently going to fast food, that's a bad habit. That's a bad consistent behavior that you don't want to have. And you want to recognize it and remove it. You learn what is bad and what is good through trial and error. Trial and error is the best way because you've gone through it as an experience. But also through other people's experiences, listening, reading, and actually taking a part in an engaging conversation where you can learn this information from someone. You're not just sitting there and hearing them. You're listening, you're engaging with them, and thus absorbing what they're telling you about maybe their addictions that they had, and you can learn from that. There's so many different ones out there, and we have specifically looked at narcotics and alcohol and a bit of fast food. But trust me, if you have a bad behavior, a bad consistent behavior, first step, wake up, recognize it. Let's start improving your life today. No more procrastination. That's another one. Don't have let that take control of you. I understand if you're not passionate about a certain task you have to do. Try and find ways to do it. There's plenty of ways out there. Like I said, trial and error is the best way. But you know what isn't trial and error? You procrastinating. You're not trialing anything. You're not getting anywhere. So don't let that eat you up when you procrastinate work. Find ways to do it. because you'll feel more satisfied when you complete that rather than that feeling of regret. No one wants to live with that. You want to snap out of it, snap out that certain behavior, whatever we're talking about here, and take control of it and improve your life from here on out. I think an issue that I want to bring up here before I end the video is that people become attached to this as their identity. You know, I am now an alcohol abuser. I am now this identity. And they think people think of them like that. And they may do. But it's just the situation you are in life right now. Don't let it control you. You control yourself. You can stop it. You really can stop it. It'll take time. Of course it will. Especially if it's been going on for a long period of time. But you have got the control. You've got the power. And that's the emphasis I really want to put in this video. It's all about you. I'm going to leave you with a quote as always. This one is by Johann Hari. Addiction is an adaptation. It's not you. It's the cage you live in.